Hey,
Hey, how's it going? I've got the Facebook live thing to try to get people over to here, so I'm just gonna let it. I'm gonna let it go for a minute. Come check us out over at
bring them in
live on
Come on in.
YouTube and live on the Rams Network on RAMS Rock Against MS on Twitch. Go find us over there. How's it going, Michael Zinn?
It's good. I just totally freaked out because I accidentally closed the broadcast studio window while the countdown was going, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening. Is the countdown still going? Will I get back in time?
Is that why there was a slight delay on our?
Yeah, I got back and I was like, let me start the intro. So
it was almost seamless. You did a great job.
All right, yeah.
And I love how you barreled in here with some wonderful energy.
I love it here. This is like becoming my favorite place.
Yes, this is the place to be. Yo, what up, Kiss Freak 123 over on Twitch? What up, Roscrow 321? How's it going? What up, everybody? What up, Miss Julie and Angela and Taylor?
I gotta catch up. Here we go.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a party over here.
Yeah, wow. Look at this.
YouTube Live, Twitch Live. Nice. Come see us. I'm turning off this Facebook Live. I love you guys, but come join us on YouTube Live and you can join the live stream of consciousness. I don't know if you can see that because it turns green. I have a green screen thing that I can't turn off. Anyway, talk to you guys later.
Why can't you turn that thing off, by the way?
I don't know because I don't know how to use. I don't use. This isn't my setup.
I gotcha.
Anyway, so how's it going, my friend? What's
Oh my God, it's going amazing.
What was your week like?
I had a super busy week. I was finishing up some editing jobs. I was
hey Tim,
documenting a very interesting collaboration between two very different artists. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna hold on a second. I want to do something here.
Just something to show us?
I do have something to show you.
Ooh.
Let's see if I can do this. So this has actually not been made public yet. Even I don't think I'm going to get in trouble, but take a look. So this artist, a friend of mine, he draws, and so he created this picture on a computer, and then he drew the picture, and then he collaborated with somebody special who you'll see pop up in a second.
I don't care. I just like the music.
I guess I picked a good soundtrack. Yeah, look at that.
Feels good.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Oh, beautiful.
So he does this.
Is this what he listens to, and he doesn't like spontaneously throw the spray paint in odd directions?
So this guy that you're seeing now is what's called a bug pinner.
The music is so aggressively loud, Michael. I can't think about anything except dancing. On my end, it's really loud.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize. I hope I didn't blow everybody out there.
It's really loud.
Is it still loud?
It's still really loud.
Wow. I'm lowering it. That's crazy. Well, anyway, all right. I'm going to unshare this. I'm going to remove it. Wait, hold on. It's going to end soon.
It's really beautiful.
All right. That's it right there.
So this guy's a cool artist of some kind?
So, well, it was two artists. It was an artist who did an illustration, and there are these butterflies drawn into the illustration, and then the bug pinner took the actual bugs and made the thing into a 3D piece of artwork that's in a shadow box, and it's freaking beautiful. It has not been unveiled yet. I hope I don't get in trouble for that, but I am, you know what, this week has been amazing, and let me tell you another great story. This show has sent ripples out into the universe, which is exactly what it was meant to do.
We're rippling.
It went rippling. I ran into somebody at another friend's music video shoot who came up to me, Patty, and her husband Cruz, and they were like, "I've been watching your show," and it's not somebody that pops up in our chat. And it's awesome. You guys just make me feel good, and it's great. And I was just so like, honored and like, wow, there's people actually watching who aren't involved in the chat. Not that I don't love all you guys who chat with us.
Thank you guys for participating. We appreciate it. And,
totally.
And do say hello sometimes when you're listening. And
Totally.
you know, we do appreciate it. This is how we know. But I mean, obviously, we see numbers are bigger than, you know, people in the chat, you know, so we appreciate that. But, you know, say hi when you can.
Yes. But another listener who does pop up in the chat, Kenzie, every once in a while, she pops up in the chat. We had a conversation earlier in the week because I have another concept I'm working on and I was looking for a co-host, and she messaged me and we had a great conversation. She's really awesome, but she also said how affected she is by our conversations about intention, and she said she really started living and recognizing the way that what she was putting her energy into as far as her intentions. And she has a daughter who is sick. I don't know. Maybe I don't know how much to talk about, but she manifested some amazing things, and attributed it to our show. She said, "You guys influenced me," and man, I was crying. I was just like, "This is amazing." I personally didn't expect to be on screen with you and chatting and doing this, but this feels like home. This is amazing.
Well, if I can add to that about Mackenzie, Mackenzie's an old friend of mine who I kind of lost touch with a while back. I mean, a long time ago, like right after we became.
Hey, Kenzie, I hope you're watching. Yeah.
I was working at a florist only for less than a month. They ended up just basically hiring too many people and they had to let me go, but they paid me for like an extra 2 weeks to not work. It was very nice. I had a nice relationship with them. It was cool. I literally introduced what do you call it? Asymmetrical arrangements to their shop. They did everything really traditionally. And I was like, can I do it like this? And like,
wow, cool.
And I got to like paint all these pumpkins because it was around Halloween. And I literally painted pumpkins like of witches and Frankenstein and stuff. And they sold all my pumpkins, which was so cool.
Amazing.
So, like, my art was sold. I felt like a pro because I used to be an artist when I was younger. Anyway, Mackenzie worked right next door at this video store. And her and I became super like best friends, you know, kind of overnight, just like really like clicked. But it took me years later, like to realize like what was going on as her and I reconnected. And I was just like, I had a little bit of a thing where when I felt a real connection to women that I would kind of keep them at bay. Because like, and it really sucked for me, like, because I was in a relationship, you know, whatever. And on some level, I felt like improper, like if I like felt really strongly connected to somebody.
Right,
you know, granted, you know, you don't know, like I don't know where that at the time it was like I don't know where this could lead because I really like her, you know, like or whatever.
Right.
And I had this, I guess, sort of mental thing where I was like, nope, you stay away from me, you know, kind of thing for any girl that I kind of liked.
Right.
And when you know, and I don't think it really was something that was supposed to develop on sort of sexual level or anything, but it was just this block that I had for like anybody who I would really feel connected to. If they had boobs, I was like, I don't know, I'm in a relationship and I feel like we should be best friends, and I think that's weird, you know.
Right. I get it.
So we connected really hardcore, you know, a bunch of years ago now, like just reconnected, and she was just immediately there for me like gangbusters, and has been. And you know, when you have a friend come and you're like, hey, you know, I know we talk about this kind of stuff and she's interested or whatever, but they're watching your show, you know, is it doing anything for them, or are they just being your friend and doing a good thing? And she had reached out to me before she made any of those posts. And she just like sent me like this really lovely message, and I didn't know what had been going on with her kid and, you know, whatnot. But, you know, what you were saying and what she was saying, you know, it's so beautiful because she said, you know, our show is just making her live consciously, and that, I'm doing it for me for that reason. You know, I'm doing it for us.
Yeah.
You know, I'm keeping, you know, like me and Michael are keeping each other honest because we wanted to do.
That's exactly what I said. I was like,
yeah.
Wow, we unintentionally affected somebody, but really it wasn't unintentional, because that is our intentional. Love is law, right? We're out here.
Well, and that was really the thing. You know, we wanted to, you know, Michael has wanted to make content. He had a whole bunch of spiritual stuff that he wanted to do, but he was a little bit like, not exactly moving forward on that stuff. And I had a bunch of entertainment stuff that I wanted to do, but I didn't want to steamroll his stuff. So it was just like, all right, well, we'll do a spiritual show. And like, that's the thing. And then we'll just keep that going until we can figure out how to do more things. And that's what we've been doing. And it's going lovely. So I'm so glad. Thank you, Mackenzie, for being such a loyal listener. And, Ken's brought her child who has some, I don't want to get into the details and say I'm wrong, but some extra difficulties in terms of their development, and she went to an energy healer and got a lot of really great results from that experience, and putting it out there, putting out the good into the world, and having it be brought back in. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, she really, she really connected to, I think, in the conversation that we had. There was a couple of times she said to me certain things that she's like, well, I believe this, I believe that. And then she told me about an experience she had with like someone who had passed away and gave her a sign. And she's like, oh, I know that was a sign. And I'm like, wait a second. Do you believe or do you know? Because that feeling that you had when you said, I know that was what was happening, that's knowing. And that's it.
I've been recently correcting that in my brain as well. Yeah, it's interesting. Ken's too, like, she's very psychic, and but like when we first started talking again, I kind of connected her psychically, like, to a bunch of things. I didn't even really know what I was doing, but she like hit me the next day. She was like, dude, I am at the place, and the place where I'm at, the history of this place is exactly what you said I am possibly dealing with, and I think you're totally right. I've been at this place a lot.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
dude, I was crying. Literally, I was crying when we were having a conversation. I was like, I can't believe what you're saying to me. It's like, it's amazing. But listen, that's it. Love is law. The live stream of consciousness. We are here all together.
It goes. I'm sorry that we're a little late tonight, guys. Can I get into my week a little bit?
I feel bad.
I have important things I want to say, but
How was your week,
we should say that we've got Nancy, who is the head of Rock Against MS, and she is coming on a little bit to actually clue our audience a little bit into the charity, which it's my hope that you guys can help future viewers to understand, as the people who have watched this episode, please, pass on to other people who go, so what is this charity or whatever else? If you could make our lives a little easier. Oh, I've got my son here. What's going on, buddy?
Do you want anything to eat?
Do I want anything to eat? I'd love things to eat. What kind of things are we getting?
We have bagel bites, chicken nuggets.
Oh, well, I can't eat right now while I'm doing the radio show, but if anybody wants to take a stab at ordering something for me, I would love to eat something. Oh. So I have my children here.
I love Grayson.
I had a really short week of like 3 solid days with Grayson and Parker out here in Los Angeles with me, which has been amazing. Hey, it's the original Kens. Love you, baby. But honestly, my brother and my whole family was here on Tuesday when I came back with the kids. I guess I came Monday night, and then they came the next night.
Yeah.
So they were all hanging. Yeah, that's right. So while we were doing Coolest Alive, they were all hanging with the kids. And when I came downstairs and my brother Shane said, "How you doing?" I said, "I've been in the middle of a panic attack for 2 weeks."
Really?
And I have been. I've been.
You know what I noticed? I did say I'm not used to this, Jesse, but I didn't know quite what it was.
I was, and I'm still. It's starting to shrink. I think it's because like the end, like I'm traveling and like so many things. I know what it is though, and it's a lesson for everybody. And I really want you to take it from me, because ignorance is the devil. When you don't know something, you can't do anything about it. But if you know something, maybe earlier than I did, maybe you can do something about it. So let me tell you. My short story that I've told, maybe a few times before in the past, somewhere or another, is that when I started smoking cannabis, when I was 28, just like recreationally, I realized very quickly that I had suffered from severe anxiety my whole life. And I was just sort of like, it was like night and day. It was at least how I felt. Over time, I realized that I am like the supreme actor, because I was walking around the world just kind of terrified.
Nobody knew.
and nobody knew. And
Right.
I was like powerful and imposing, and I kicked out. Like I'm an athlete, and under those circumstances, I'm a little less. But
You're more confident.
Yeah, but also I was terrified of my power. I was terrified that I could kill somebody, that I could hurt somebody. I was terrified of like the terrible possibilities, and terrified of really practical sort of things. Like, I was the child of a celebrity, and I kind of grew up feeling like he was big and I was small.
Sure.
And I was terrified of being small. Like, I think I might be really small, and and inadvertently was sort of projecting, trying to talk about myself a lot when I was younger, because I wanted people to like me, and I thought that they needed a reason, essentially. And I was always just sort of trying to. The biggest thing is that I was in a race. I was racing. I planned to be famous. And it wasn't really about fame. Like, it wasn't that I wanted to be famous. I just wanted to be on my father's level. And I planned to do this at 16. By 16, I was going to do it, because if I did it early like that, then it would be really hard for people to say that I rode his coattails, because look how early I did it. Right. Then I started, once 16 passed, I was like, oh my God, I'm late for an important date. And then as I started to getting into the age where I was just like, well, the fucking doing it young thing doesn't matter anymore. There was so many little layers. Yeah. And I remember years later when I did and I highly recommend this to people who are like on the Asperger's spectrum, or, feel like they're a little robotic in their thinking, or have a hard time, with anxiety and stuff. When I did psilocybin, magic mushrooms, for the first time, it like changed my board, my mixing board. And I realized that I was like sort of like measuring myself against things with this like crazy infinite scale of like, there's that and here's me. Right. And I realized that I was the one in control of the differential. Of how far away it was. Like, I was like, wait a second, bring that in a little closer. It's just right here. It's just right there.
You were talking about perspective.
Yeah. Right? And so like it changed my perspective, because everything that I was viewing as like a mountain, all of a sudden it became a plane. And I can remember I stood up and I was looking at Batman, and I was like, it was a Batman action figure, and he was 6 inches or whatever. And in that moment, it was very easy for me to see that he was not larger than me. And I realized that intellectually, I had felt, as a writer who wanted to write comic books, very passionately, like mainstream comics at the time. That was my biggest passion. Like, like I always wanted to show what I could do in music and earn respect. But comic books I loved, and I really desperately knew I could do a great job, and I wanted to be given the opportunity. Right. And I was having a hard time getting as much work as I wanted to get. I get a little work here, a little work there, but like not like getting into the system the way I wanted to. That was actually why I started socially drinking and socially smoking marijuana, because I thought that was keeping me from the group. And like, maybe if
you're telling that story,
if I could get a beer with the editor, like it would be easier for me. Right. And to some degree that was true. But
no, that's actually, not to interrupt your train of thought. The story is great, but that story is actually very relevant about how you felt, like, because you didn't smoke and didn't drink, that they were looking at you weird, and that they were like, well, he can't have any fun with us because he doesn't know how to have fun. But meanwhile.
Certainly, there were a lot of reasons to look at me weird. I recognized that people had like snapped to the assumptions about the children of rich or famous people. And as soon as I saw that people already had an idea about what I was like, I'm going to be a fucking enigma. And I did that very purposefully. At a young age. So people are always kind of like, this motherfucker is strange to me. But anyway, in this moment, seeing Batman, and on the psilocybin trip where the scales were much more balanced, I went, oh wow, like I was feeling so intimidated by Batman. Like I thought like I had to write the greatest Batman story of all time, where I was nothing, kind of thing. Like my measure was to them. And getting this, fair bit of measurement was another huge step in me making peace, at least a little bit, with being the center of attention. Like, I was terrified to do solos. I think I talked about this a little bit last week, but I was really hiding it. And I realized like I'm a really good actor because I had emotions that were really raw and strong, and I felt that they were so close to the surface that the only way I could do anything about it is if I developed a real strong thing to cover it up. And for a long time, I wasn't very feminine. Like now you see me walk around. I work a couple days at a comic book shop out here doing like comics and toys, and I'll see myself walk around the shop, and I got limp wrists. Like, and I go around, and because that's me. But that is me. I'm more feminine than I am masculine, in terms of how I like to carry myself when I'm comfortable.
You're both. You're like, what they don't call it poly. What do they call it?
I'm both. I'm balanced.
Yeah.
I'm balanced, but within the context of like my personal life and and it's been a problem with me for like girlfriends. Like finally, I have a girlfriend who doesn't mind, that I'm, a little fat. Like she really likes.
She doesn't mind that you're gay.
Yeah, she doesn't mind that I'm kind of a gay straight guy. But I mean, because she sees what a fucking badass I am at other moments, which I am. It's a balance.
All the same, man. But people get caught up in any of it. It's all the same.
Well, and that's for me. It is. It's kind of about acting. And as I came into that thing, I kind of understood that it's just, dancing is just taking up space and having a good time and and all of these things are really hard for you when you're self-conscious and hard on yourself and and this gives you anxiety. So my whole life I have had this anxiety. When I came to the realization of like my anxiety, I would say to you that essentially I was like, well, if I can fix these things, then it will be fixed. I am here to tell you that I spent a decade sort of trying to fix those things, eventually going, okay, these things need not be fixed. I have to just get through it anyway because of other reasons why I decided that was true, only to fix the things after I accepted them as they were and moved through them, and have found myself for the past 2 weeks having an anxiety attack. And I realized that it is because things are fine. And it's not the things. It's not the things, people. It's not about the things. The things are just the reason we are giving ourselves to do it. The reason we are allowing ourselves to fall to pieces. And now I'm faced with a situation where I've got a girlfriend who I really like, and I've got the support of my family, and we're really like stronger than ever, really stronger than ever. And I'll say a second bit about that, which is something I recommend to everybody. That's
so good to hear.
I'm on the path that I need to be on, and things are really looking up. And I will say that this kind of 2 week or a week, whatever. I mean, like I said, it's starting to fade. But Michael can attest that once every 6 weeks or once every month, I'm not exactly sure, there would be like a week period where I would sort of crash again, and I would just be like destitute. And like, fuck. And I'm literally saying to him, like, fuck, man, I hate it when this friggin' happens. I hate feeling like this. I know I'm working on it. I know things are getting better. I know, Michael, I'm just like freaking overwhelmed, and I can't do anything about it. And the cycle of this got better and better and better. And now it has switched to this, which is better as well. But ultimately, I am successfully acting my way through a 2-week panic attack, where I just have had a lot to do and all this traveling. And oh my goodness, the more different things that I do, the more room there is for me to judge what I've done. Have I booked the tickets that are too expensive? Did I book the right flight times? Is this going to be okay for Patty? Is this going to be okay for me? Should I have done it like this? Like it really just so much stuff. Like, and this is a person who has been forced to face his weaknesses. I figured out how to traipse through life without triggering myself in lots of ways, surrounding myself with color in my room and distraction, a real steady flow of hobbies that kept me connected to my, my joy and what I was interested in doing. And, sort of the patterning and scheduling of comic books, all these things were really good for me. And then as the universe took these things away, I realized oh wow, I'm like a homebody, and when I don't have my own space, I'm like kind of a nutcase. Like I have to freaking get over this and be able to do some amount of work. And I can't be so stricken by all of these little rules that I'm putting on myself.
Right.
And ultimately, what I'm saying is, you can make the excuse your mother, you can make the excuse your siblings, you can make the excuse your friends, you can make the excuse society or your relationships with anybody, you can make the excuse your career or your money situation. Anything can be the excuse. But if you find yourself constantly toiling over problems that are there, the problem isn't the problem, it's you're toiling. And
Wow.
and if I had understood a long time ago, that I was toiling, that you're just stewing.
Right.
And you can either take a long walk, and what do you call it? Find your way to surrender the fact that you can't control the other people in your universe and forgive and let it all be, or you can take the short walk off the plank and just accept and try to start putting away this this toiling feeling, this kicking legs. My leg is always shook my whole life. And granted, sometimes I get it in. I know it's I get it under control. I literally, when I used to be a VJ on MTV2, I used to tape my leg to the chair.
Wow.
So that when I felt it shake, I would feel the tug, and
right.
stop. Wow. Because I would be doing it on camera all the time, and my producer would be like,
"You gotta stop.
You're shaking your leg again.
You gotta stop.
I'm shaking your leg." And I was just like, I literally, so I mean, I talk about a good actor. That's right. I taped my damn leg to the chair so I would stop doing that.
Jesse, that's a great behind the scenes story, by the way.
Yeah.
A little bit of Jesse Blaze trivia.
So please, all of you out there, if you feel like you're connecting to this story on any level and that this could be your future, stop toiling now. Just start to put the brakes on it.
Stop toiling now. I think that's a good catchphrase right there.
Yeah.
Stop toiling now.
I am worrying about the stupidest bullshit, and it has the same energetic feeling that worrying about my family or worrying about my kids, feels. It feels the same way, and it's just stupid shit. And I'm finally, because it's this, and I'm like, this is stupid. Yeah, man. I'm like, this is what's fueling like all of it. Like it's never gonna go away. Like I can have every situation under control, and you're just gonna keep pulling this bullshit in my brain. So if that's going on for you, start trying to get your hands off that trigger. Oh, and I do want to say one more thing before we have Nancy on, and I don't know
so patiently. Thank you, Nancy.
But the other really important thing that I have done over the past I don't know, a few weeks now, and spiritually, and I didn't know just how important it was, but because I was a bit of a scaredy cat, I was really scared to sort of hear things that people might say, because essentially anything they might say, I would turn that into worse. I would make that worse. So
you're
like
talking about your family right now, or like,
I mean, to some degree, anybody, like, but I would take things from my family, like my mom in particular, just, like her mothering, I would take as sort of like, it's not good, and I'm like, it's not good, and I always just want, like, something about a Virgo, like, you don't want to be wrong, like I just want to be right, and I'm gonna get it right the first fucking time. When I have to do something a second time, like in a video game, like if I like die and I gotta do a whole, I'm like like, it's just, no, never again. It's like very upset when that happens. Anyway, not wanting to hear the things, and I've been in a different place for a long time where I think that I have been more open to hearing the things than I knew, but I was sort of just in a pattern of not hearing things.
Right.
And essentially it came to my attention that my mom and dad wanted to vent. They had felt like I had been able to vent, and they wanted to vent. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, I don't really have anything to say, like, but I'm totally down to like hear you. Like, I've said everything that I need to say. I'm good, And I was like, but I'm happy to sit down. Yeah. And I set out to try not to like talk at all. Like, of course I ended up doing a lot of talking. But I didn't, really it was a great conversation. And I've seen now weeks later what a great conversation it was, and what about it was so great. What about it was so great was the simplest thing. My parents got to communicate to me and felt like I heard them. So much of the communication that happens, like, it's a little passive aggressive. And not that my family necessarily does that. They just don't say anything at all. But like, right. Sometimes family members are trying to communicate something to you, and they're like, kind of like, you're just getting it in little needles here, there. And you just feel like this isn't fair. And da, 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 da. And when it's laid out, in a more, hey, this is what we're feeling.
Right.
It's way easier to understand. And my experience, and it's been like this because I have heard from them on a few other occasions, and and it has always been the same thing. And I got to imagine that this is a pretty fucking universal experience for most people. I'm like kind of just blindsided. Like, I'm just like, what? I did what? Like, I remember my mom telling me that I never took her out to dinner when she was out, when I was doing Rock the Cradle.
Right.
And like, she was out there the whole time, like, helping me, do,
wardrobe and stuff. Yeah.
And when she said, Suzette. Yeah, shout out to Suzette. My mom, she did a great job. Yeah. When she said that to me, I was just sort of like,
yeah, you realize.
Oh my God.
I'm actually wondering if we should start to market this show at the therapeutic edge of this show, because it's like Jesse Blaze's therapy sessions live online.
Oh yeah, wait, I'm getting therapy?
No, yeah, well, in a way. I feel like this is very therapeutic for you. But,
I mean, that's why but
great. No, this is great. This energy is amazing.
But I don't share anything that I don't think is useful.
Yeah.
Like for me, like, I wouldn't share it if I didn't think it was.
Of course. No, look, Taylor thanks us for getting out of some very toxic. Listen, we are doing our job, my friend, just by being us. This is what we are supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, that's the thing. I think at the end of the day too, people have respect for my family, and
absolutely,
knowing, especially once you've come through the thing and can understand what it was that broke you apart, in whatever way, to be able to go, oh, this was a little bit of a problem for us, like, and help other people. It's a huge thing. So really, I would say, if you feel like there's tension with your families, I highly recommend trying to go in with an open mind and have a conversation where you plan to just listen a little bit and make your family feel like they're heard, because it wasn't like I did anything, but I see the change in my parents.
Yeah, but did you hear them? You actually must have heard them, because that's what happened. They saw that you heard them.
Well, that's true too. I
did
hear them.
You said you're like, I realized these things. Well,
apparently I made my mom cry the other day, because when I was in New York, I took the kids out with my grandfather, which I'm not necessarily good with, holiday stuff and things. Like, sometimes, like, I am when I'm focused on that stuff. Like, when I was little, I was really good at it, but I tend to be very work oriented, and I like lose track of that shit. But yeah, they basically pointed out a bunch of like perceptions that they had that, I mean, were true to some degree. It's true.
You had a perspective that acknowledged what they were saying.
Yeah, I was like, well, I see that that's true. I see that I did not invite you out to dinner, Mom.
Right.
But holy shit,
you never thought how it made her feel.
I have been wrapped up in stupid Jesse land.
You were doing your own. Listen, and Jesse, there's nothing wrong with that. Don't knock yourself out for it. You did what you know.
Well, thank you. And that is the thing, like, if you can go to them and be, if they can be able to articulate these larger things in time where they don't feel, betrayed. Because that was the thing. Like my mom was really feeling betrayed. Like, she, like, look,
I think we're all learning from each other. That's it. We're all lessons for each other.
She had basically, I won't say what she said, but she went out of her way to say something that was pretty whoa. And I was like, well, whoa. I'm like, but there's nothing I can do about that. So I'm just gonna gonna hope that I can change your mind about that over time. And it was very clear that, like, she just needed to say that. she just needed to like say that and look me in the eyes and see what my reaction was to it. Like she just needed to speak. And they're speaking. And granted, I did listen, and not that I was told to do anything in particular, but I did hear what they were saying, and I did try to make some immediate adjustments.
You processed it,
as I could, and and it was really good, and I was not. It did not hurt me. It did not break my heart. As somebody who's an anxiety-prone person, I went in there with the intention of, I want to listen to them. I want things with us to be good, and if they feel like they got some things that they want to get off the chest, I want them to be able to feel like they can. Well, so anyway, I recommend all of those things, and we should have our guest on.
Right. I was going to say, speaking of listening, I think that it's time to wake up our guest. She's probably nodded off in the back room there. But this whole thing, this whole show on the Twitch network, on the Rams network, on the Twitch.tv on the Rams network. I got to get this right. I'm like learning all this stuff. I'm like hip now. I think I was telling you last week, I'm now a Twitcher. I call myself a Twitcher. But anyway, we got this through actually a friend of yours who happened to see we were doing some stuff online and that it was kind of spiritual and helpful in nature. And
it was through Nancy. Nancy's a friend of mine.
Nancy's the friend of yours. There she is. So I'm going to bring her on. Actually, I'm going to let her tell the story. I'm going to let you guys tell the story. Let's let Nancy talk for a little bit. And
no, I want to hear. Like, I don't know enough about Rock Against MS. So Nancy,
there you go. So welcome, it's Nancy B. Sayle. Everybody, welcome.
Nancy, can we please go to the very beginning of Rock Against MS, and can you tell us how this thing genesised into this Rams network?
Well, hi, Angela. It was weird. So, I'm in the music. Well, maybe you don't know. So for those who do not know me, I am in the music industry for 30 million years. And I represent high profile people. I even worked with your dad a long time ago. And so anyways, I'm a private person, and I got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And I, kept it to myself pretty much. And I do have some of my artists are very close with me. And Steve Stevens from Billy Idol, he's the guitar player, if you don't know who that is. I was at his home and with him and his wife, Josie, and I had just gotten a word that not only do I have MS, and I had it for a couple of years, mind you, and he already knew this, but I'm sitting there and I thought, I have to get this off my chest because I'm the only one that knows that now I have a brain tumor. And so I, hi. Thank you, Taylor. That was very kind. So I said, in Steve's living room is where he has his whole recording studio. It's this big purple room. And I just said, hey, not to lay this on you guys, but I got to get it off my chest. And I said, I also know I have a brain tumor, and I don't know how far it is in the sense. So I'm going to be going to a specialist that does brain surgery and all this. And Steve, it was morning. We're all like in pajamas. Not that I stayed the night, but I tend to just show up in pajamas and slippers anyways to their house because I'm lazy to dress. And he pops his head over and he goes, oh, no, this isn't okay. You've been doing stuff for us for 30 years. We're going to do something for you. I'm going to call Billy. I'm going to call Billy Morrison. I'm going to, we're going to do something for you because this is crazy. And that was 2012. And then in the meantime, Billy Idol's band got called out and to tour. And then by October, I was having a surgery, some spine surgery. So after all that, I realized how broke I'm becoming because I'm not working and at this current moment. And so if you don't know, I'm a publicist. So, and I might have already said that. So I called up Steve and I said, hey, and I'm recovering from this spine surgery, my neck. And are you guys still, because I was embarrassed. I don't like to ask for help. I'm very private. I don't like to tell people things. I'm just closed, which is not, of course, a good thing, but at that time. So he says, yeah. He goes, let me go back to Billy Morrison. And they started making phone calls and doing things. And it was really sweet because they wanted to raise money for me so I could take time off and get
That's awesome.
So So then it was kind of cute because, of course, I'm a publicist. I can't help it. And I'm bored and I got to do something. So I'm like, where are we doing this? And he says, oh, maybe here. And I'm like, that's not very big if we're going to raise money. Let's do it over here. And anyways, it ended up, the Maglieris are like my second family. They own the Rainbow and the Whiskey out on Sunset Strip.
Cool.
And we had a venue, but that used to be Gazzari's. And for some reason, they sold it. So they said any shows that are going to happen in the month of March is not going to happen. So I physically run over and I'm sitting with Michael, who's the Mario's son, and Michael Sr. And I said, oh my God, I need the whiskey. And he said, what's it for? And I told him, he goes, yeah. And so they kicked out whoever was going to be that night. And it was like a Wednesday night. I think it was the 26th of March of 2013 is now what we're talking. And so I just kind of started helping spearheading, putting some of the stuff together. Cause I actually asked the guys, I said, who's going to sell tickets and how are you going to, and they just said, well, we're going to show up. I'm like, well, okay. So I kind of took it over because I love them. I just love these guys. I love all my artists. And we have great spirit.
Just so everybody in the audience knows, just showing up rarely works.
Yeah.
Really. You need people like Nancy to put the shit together.
So it was so sweet. So I got it all together. I got laminates made. We got this. I got the security. We got the door. They got the bar. That was the deal. And anyway, so we had everybody. It was weird because you just don't realize who your friends are until you see.
Yeah, the concert you told me about sounded ridiculously amazing.
Well, that's the concert, the first concert. Ironically, Steve Stevens didn't get to play it, even though he's the spearhead and the start of all this, because that particular date he had to go to Australia. So in the meantime, I still had Billy Idol, Billy Morrison, their drummer Eric Oldenius. So then they put in like Billy Duffy, and then I had Marky Ramone flew in, and Marky was playing with Gilby Clarke, Sugar Ray, Mark McGrath is singing Ramone songs, and you got Piggy D from Zombie on bass, and then you've got Orianthi playing with Rick Springfield, who's got, it's like this
amazing
ridiculousness, and the picture.
You must have been so flattered.
You just don't realize, and the Foo Fighter, what's his name? Taylor Hawkins was there. You had like Foo Fighters, you had Zombie, you had all these people, Glenn Hughes. I mean, it was.
And it's great that all these people, that's
Nancy, you are a publicist. Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's pretty genuine. I mean, I know musicians who, if you're doing that, for a charity and for a cause, I mean, that's pretty genuine. And those people are all pretty high profile. That's awesome.
It's great. Kenny Aronoff played with Kenny Aronoff did Great White songs with Jack Russell, Brett Scallions from Fuel. I mean, I can't the names and the KLOS supported this. So at the time,
I never understood why you would want to make your stage name after a dog breed.
Oh, because he was born with a dog breed. I love it.
No, I no offense to anybody.
No, I know.
I just always found it. I you know what? I love play on words, and that is
better than Engelbert Humperdinck.
No, listen, it's making your stage name. It's making your stage name a play on words. So it's very clever. I'm not making fun of anybody.
Oh no, but yeah, when you got to look them up, it's like you get dogs instead.
Yeah, exactly. Wait a second. What are all these pictures?
But yeah, all these people, it was just insane. It was 5 hours. The whiskey was so overloaded with humans. It wasn't even funny. And it was a very bittersweet evening, of course, because then you're just sitting there and you're like, you're enjoying it, at least, because I got to enjoy it, because then everything kicked in. We have a really great team of friends that came in, and they were wrangling these guys, getting them on stage, and the whole bit. It was beautiful. And what it did, okay, so anybody who's watching this that has ever gone to a Rock Against MS show, and Jesse, you played the last one we got to, which was 2019. You sang several songs. When I get on stage, and I already told this to Michael, you will get intermittently me choking up and kind of crying. So just deal with it. Bill Burr makes fun of me. Hal Sparks, all my comedian friends host the show, and they just make fun of it. Here comes Nancy. She's about to cry. Don't let it upset you. She'll be over.
You had a good cry that night, I remember. It was a good night too for me because I got to sing a bunch of songs that I like. They wouldn't usually let me do at the jam night.
Yeah, like Soul Man. You did.
I sang Soul Man. I thought it was Soul Man. Yeah.
Yeah, because you were part of the so in the beginning of the night we always do this since we're in the big theaters now, we do a full production. We've got video rolling, we got lights, the whole bit, we got horn sections, and we do a tribute to everybody who passed the year before. So the reason why you did Soul Man is because the guitar player from the Blues Brother band had passed away the year before.
That's right. Yeah, I'm a huge Blues Brother fan.
Also passed away. And oh my God, and the Temptation. I mean, there were so many Motown people that actually passed away.
I got what I got the hard way. I'm getting up. I'm sorry, I love that song.
And he's got his backup because we got backup singers. We got there's two Lisas and a Gretchen Bonaducci who was married to Danny, and
I love doing that.
So they do all the backup singing, and I got a whole set of horns and such great bands that we put together with all A-list artists.
So can you tell us about your health journey, and then when you went from supporting your health journey to supporting other people's health journey?
Okay, so from that first night in 2013, because I'll just start there, it hit me that who has these friends? You can't, the basic people are going to be able to call it Billy Idol. That's, and I got such a gift in all the friends I have, and so I thought, well, okay, let's start turning this into a nonprofit to help people. And I was trying to figure out a model for that. I had MS since 2007, but by about, I don't know, 2007, about 2008 or 9, I started questioning some of the symptoms that I was having. And it was really ridiculous. I'd get really crazy symptoms. 1 minute, the back of my legs would be on fire and it dropped me to my knees because it was like electrical shocking charges. Wow. The main thing that told me I had a problem was that cognitive. So I was blessed with a high IQ. I'm very, proficient both sides of the brain, blah, blah, blah. So with that said, I know I hate talking about that, but this is how I found out is that I couldn't even say the word cat. Mm-hmm. I'd have to describe it. And I thought, what the fuck is going on? Like, this is not a thing. I have an eidetic memory. I'm like, what is, this is, I'm I'm freaking out. So I had a doctor that was ignoring all these symptoms, like my left eye has an issue, this, all this other shit. And so finally I went to my spine surgeon and I said, hey, because I had been hit by a truck twice, and that's another story. Wow. But
sounds like two other stories.
I got a lot of stories. And so my neck is fused. Okay. So there's titanium plates and screws. And I said, he calls me Turbo, why are you here? And I said, Doc, I need my brain scanned. I don't know what's going on, but something's not okay. And he goes, okay. He goes, well, he had to have a reason. So he says, let's check your neck. And in the meantime, I'll throw in your brain. And there you go. So when I went back, he said, he started reading the summary, and it basically said that I have multiple lesions on the subcortical and the white matter, and he's going on. And I'm sitting there, and because I have a couple of degrees in like medical sided stuff, and I said, either you're telling me I have Alzheimer's or I have MS. And he says, it looks like you have MS. And he sent me to Dr. Cowell, who's one of the top neuros in the nation. And he redid it. And he said, you got it. And I'm like, oh, great. Then what do you do with it? And then it's
and what is MS for people who don't know at home?
Okay. So there's MS is a terrible fucking disease. MS. So what it is when you plug in your toaster and how your cord has got rubber on it and you plug it in and it's protecting all the wires. Okay. So what's happening is that it's an autoimmune disease and a neurological disease. And it's basically your body is eating itself, and it eats
the stuff that's keeping you safe.
The myelin sheath that's over around our wires. Right. So it's kind of, think of like a little bunny rabbit chewing on a cord. That's what's going on in our body. So that's where a lot of our pain, the neuropathy, all this other crap. Optic neuritis is another thing, which is what, usually people with them, not usually, but times people with MS will lose sight in one eye because it's kind of the similar thing. Yes, Taylor, multiple sclerosis. And so it's a very debilitating disease, and it can put you in a wheelchair, and you die from this shit. So from either symptoms of crap but you die with it, and so it's kind of we have a shorter lifespan, all these other wonderful things that you're being told, and it's scary. So so mine was my cognitive. I got about 30 out of the 50 symptoms, and it's called a snowflake disease because my MS may not be the same as your MS because it depends on where the lesions on your brain are. And so when you have MS, you get brain scans and your spinal cord scanned, and they find like little lesions, scabs basically. And what happens is that it blocks the neurotransmitters from properly firing. So you will not be connecting one day. Some days I am like, woohoo, and I'm talking my talk. And then other days I'm like, what the fuck's that called? And and then people go, oh, I do that all the time. I said, no, you don't understand. It's not a brain part. This is literally I'm not connecting today.
Right.
And but you don't want to keep correcting people. You just nod your head.
Well, it's good that you said all the things you're being told, because at the end of the day, we really have to begin to understand in the conscious stream, we are creating our world with our beliefs, and it's when a thing is decided to be true, it is true on many levels.
Yeah.
However, so often this is just a collection of symptoms that Nancy has, and they're calling it this thing. And as she's saying, it's a snowflake thing because it's different for all these other people. And ultimately, on a whole spiritual, energetic level, all these things are coming down to energies that are maybe similar, that are causing a similar group of symptoms for somebody. But, a name and all these facts about you're going to live only this long, or this is going to be happening, you're going to be in a wheelchair. My sister was told she was going to be in a wheelchair before she was 30 because of a fracture that she has in her hip. She has been healing herself, granted through ayahuasca and a diet and a lot of other different things, but she's been getting herself back on track, and she no longer is worrying that she's going to be going out any earlier than she would like to be. And I know Nancy is a fighter who is not has decided she's not going anywhere without a little bit of perusal into this world of her health. And I appreciate that about you, sweetie.
Yeah, one of my artists said, they looked at me and they said, you're too mean to die, so you're going to be here past everybody else.
I don't see that about you, Nancy.
I don't know what he's talking about.
So how has the charitable organization formed the Rams Network? What's the progression here? I know it's slightly COVID related. What say you?
Yeah, so normally we do like a big annual event, and again, like I described that, describing what I was describing earlier, Jesse was part of it, and Alice in Chains, everybody. So we do these big, beautiful events, and we were 8 days from the I'm losing track of time, 2019 event. Oh my God. Anyways, whatever. Whenever COVID started, what year was that? I don't even know anymore.
A long, long time ago, before COVID came into our lives.
2020. Okay, I don't know. Anyway, so 2020. So I remember being on the phone with Steve Lukather, and I said, "Hey, Luke, I think we have to cancel. I don't know what's going on with all this shit." And he goes, "I don't know." And we like, "Oh yeah," and we rallied. We're like, "Fuck it, we're doing it. Yeah, we're doing the show." And then 8 days before, I'm like, "Oh yeah, we have to cut it in good conscience, of course." And so that was that's what happened. And this year we didn't either do a show in March, but anyways, back to 2020. My friend Sam McMullen, he is the god of all sorts of things, and he's a guy that knows everybody. He has all these different online entities for gaming and that. He's a huge geek dude. He owns geeks.gg. So he said, "Nance, he says, Nance, digital. And because I'm like, Sam, oh my God, I had to cancel. We lost all this money because we did all this advertising. And, I'm going, and he goes, digital. And I said, well, Tourette's, what the frick does digital mean? I'm analog. I do things in person. And he goes, no, digital, check it out. My friends, they created this thing, Twitch. And I said, yeah, I know what Twitch is. It's a gaming thing. He goes, well, now we can do music on it. And there's these other things. And he goes, hold on. It was like one of those moments of, I'll be back. And he comes back and he has built this whole advisory board of some of the top humans. He's, from attorneys to the top branding, marketing companies and all this stuff. And they are on board for Rams. And the goal was to build a Twitch channel. So, and the Twitch channel, and because Sam knew the guys, he walked us in and said, we want a partnership like now. Sam is a person that is a huge heart giving person. Like he's amazing. And because he's so amazing, when Sam says, hey, I would like this to happen, I'm working with this nonprofit and we would like a partnership instead of waiting to get it. He walked us in to get the partnership so we could evolve a little faster, and give goodness to the people like you guys, any of the shows that are coming on board, And so that's kind of where it started. And then I've been working with Corey Padveen from T2 Marketing, who helped roll most of this out, almost all of it out. I can't lie. Without him, I would have no wherewithal to.
Shout out to Corey.
Corey,
he helped me hook this up.
And
Corey,
there's the shout out.
And so I started kind of hitting up people, say, because everybody's doing stuff and they're not monetizing. So we created a model that is to help on a charitable side of it. Because
I just put the link, by the way, in the chat so people can actually just click it. Because when it's on the banner going across the bottom, you can't click it, and no one's going to type it in. So
I don't. Hero Academia, I got to check that one out. Sorry.
My Hero Academia.
Comments.
I don't know if the YouTube people get that link, but every time you watch the show, you have an opportunity to do passive donating, $1 or $2, and it adds up, and it's really interesting because the model that we chose. Because there's a lot of back end to this, and so that's a cost, and we are not like a funded nonprofit yet. We are still like a baby. So everybody who is rolling their shows on the Rams network basically have become unwillingly knowing. No, of course fundraisers for us. Like professional fundraising team. You know what I mean? And so when
happy to be.
Right. Oh, you know what? Yeah, actually, I just checked out the YouTube channel. The link comes up, and it took me right to the page. And we had some people donate money. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, people.
Yay.
Oh, thank you, guys.
It's really great because it's really great. So the cool thing about Twitch
is great. Oh, I'm gonna cry.
I know. I don't start crying because if I start crying, just start. They do the ugly cry face.
No cry. They love it when I cry.
Yeah. I don't know if Jesse can cry because you're so freaking perky.
I don't think he's cried on the show yet, actually.
Am I not on the live stream of consciousness? Perhaps.
Julian says he likes your shirt. I was actually going to say I like your shirt. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, Nancy. We just having some interaction with our family.
No, you gotta talk to the peeps. But yeah, so we came up with this thing. So it's kind of like being like a digital PBS.
So cool. I got to say, when Jesse said, hey, I've got a friend who's got this thing on the Twitch network and all this stuff, I was like, I don't know, whatever. But then he introduced me to you and we spoke. And first of all, I just want to say thank you for being on the show and being so candid with everything that you've shared with us, because I'm sure it's not easy. But when I met you and the energy that I get from you, you have such a great upbeat disposition. What you're doing is amazing, and who you are, I think, is a big part of that. I'm sure that you get people to react to you and what you're doing in your cause because of who you are and the energy that you have. So I think it's all very relevant to what we're doing, and
well, yeah, look, she motivated the whole Billy Idol crew.
Yeah.
Foo Fighters, Rick
I
Springfield.
wanted to see if he was gonna disappear from the thing and then say, "Who is this?"
Because you got green screen.
So we are getting to the end of our show. But
I want to.
oh wait,
I mean, she was finishing up with.
I know I wanted to. I
Oh,
was
okay.
gonna.
Go
I was
ahead.
gonna direct the end of the conversation
Let's
a little.
do it. Direct away, sir.
So no, here you direct the end of the conversation.
No, I don't know where you. I don't know where you were going. I was
You
listening
know
to
where I was
Nancy.
going? I was listening to Nancy too. Yeah. So I think she was done with the basic.
She was
the
getting
basic
again.
picture.
Yeah,
It
I
all.
was going to tell you about what the rock houses are.
Yes. Tell us
Okay.
what the rock houses are.
So okay, I might start crying. Just bear with me.
Oh yay!
All right.
The rock houses. I came up with the thought that people. I don't mean to down people, but the big wheels, societies, and all those kind of people, they don't really help people with MS. I found that out very hard. That their money is not spent helping. 10% goes into maybe finding finding the cure, and then the rest goes into a lot of big pockets and but they're very good at doing like I don't know, finding information out and but so ancillary marketing materials and whatever. And I'm not downing them. It's just like, but my God, I mean, 80% of the money that comes in goes not to anything, but nothing.
It's really awful.
It doesn't help people.
If you don't know, if you've never heard that before, that most charitable organizations, like the biggest charitable organizations on the planet, are doing the least good. I go look into it yourself. Just look. It's hard numbers. If you're going to donate to any sort of charity, and you don't have to donate to to us, but seriously,
please do
put your money to more mom and pop sort of charity things, because it really actually helps in those cases. And there is so much overhead. It's like you think the government is like wasting our money. Boy, do these big ass charities waste money.
Well, it was sad to me and very profound thought when there's another Nancy that has Race to Erase MS. She's amazing. And her goals are different than Ram's, but we met, and she has MS herself as well. And she showed me all the statistics. I mean, when somebody's got like a, $250,000 salary with $1 million expense account, and I'm like, what? So, what's that? So that's when I was like, well, screw this. We got to help people now. So our hashtag is helping people now. And what we want to do is build these rock houses. And the first one will probably be up in the valley here in California. We work with the Richard Pryor's estate. Richard passed from MS. He had MS for a substantial period of time, at least 15 plus years. So I work with Jennifer Lee Pryor,
cool.
And he's part of us. So we'll probably name the first one after him. He's a part of us. He's amazing. He's like my hero. I love Richard Pryor. But he used to do sit down comedy, and it'd be all about MS, and he would talk about it because everybody thought he had AIDS, but what it was is he had MS and he was losing all this weight.
That's cool.
But anyway, so I digress, as usual. And so the rock houses are not because it's rock and roll. I mean, yes, but when you have that person in your life that is your rock, here comes the tears. When you need somebody to be there for you, because I'm sorry, when you have MS, you feel like a burden. You lose friends. They're not there for you, but you gain friends. And I think that's one beauty out of the disease, because those farewell friends that like you because you work for rock stars and you might get a ticket, fuck you. I'm not Ticketmaster. But so people with MS tend to not want to be a burden. We're quiet about it. We don't sit and complain about it, but we suffer in extreme silence. And so what we want to do is build these big, beautiful rock houses. And they're going to have a gaming room, because gaming is proven to help cognitive and focus for people with MS. We're going to have Pilates and Reiki and all these different integrative therapies that people can't afford. I can't afford it anymore because, I'm not working like I was. But
I'm lucky my girlfriend does Reiki because I can't afford that shit.
Oh my God, I love it. And then there's going to be a room where people learn to cook vegan. And so like, when couples go and do these little couples things and they learn to cook, one of those big kind of kitchens so people can learn to cook. We're going to have a music room. We're going to have an area where people can go, wheel up in their chair, and we'll get their hair washed and their nails done. You just stop feeling like a person because you feel, one, like a burden. Two, I have a hard time washing my hair. I have to go get it washed. It sounds silly, but my hair's to my butt, and it's hard for me to maneuver. I'm very mobile. I'm not in a wheelchair or anything. I'm very mobile, and I go hiking and all that stuff. But it takes me a minute. The fatigue is like soul crushing pain, and people go, "Oh, I'm tired too," and it's like, "Oh, you have no idea." So it's just people don't get the disease. I really urge people to look up multiple sclerosis and just read it. It's like this weird ass disease, and it's not hereditary. It just picks random. Although there are people with it in their family, same people. It's a weird disease. It affects so much of your body in different areas. So many people, more people have it than not. Although in the United States, it's up to 1 million on the books, which is not a lot of people if you think about the whole nation. So, but anyways, we want to help people. We want to build rock houses. And if we can't get rock houses built in certain areas, like they're very out there, we can then do, hopefully then we'll have the second program, which is where they can apply for integrative care, daily care, and an emergency fund. I was told by the big society that we don't have an emergency fund. I'm a homeowner. I was afraid to lose my house. I'm not working. And they said, "Oh, we don't help people." But what we do is we go to other sources, take their money, and there's one thing for $300 every 18 years or 18 months, excuse me, that we can pay a bill. And I was like, "Oh my God." So there's like no help from what you think is supposed to help you. So it's very scary. I'm a cancer survivor, and not that I don't support cancer, because I totally do, but because I will live with this MS until I drop. It just doesn't go away. You don't get better.
Right.
It's not a disease you get better from.
Right.
So, oh, thank you, Angela. You're very sweet.
All of the diseases make us stronger. In going through the pain, we learn to cope with the pain. I don't know. Arnold Schwarzenegger would probably say something like that. I don't know. It is in the disease that we suffer and we get good and strong.
Wow. Wow, that's all I got for that one, Jesse.
Wow.
But anyway.
No, Nancy, I as somebody who has dealt with chronic pain, any disease, anything that is affecting people on a daily basis, people just don't really know, because it's not about, oh, I'm in pain today, or I couldn't remember this thing or whatever. It's about the torture of it perpetuating itself, and having to reframe your life around this situation of how you feel. And thankfully I'm starting to feel better and better, but still every day of my life I wake up and I don't feel right. And and one day I hope that I will completely. It always makes me cry when I plan to stand on stage one day and tell people that I used to be in pain every day of my life, and I'm not anymore. And and I'm gonna try to help you guys figure out how to not be in pain too, because it's the worst thing imaginable. And people don't know how to, I think, handle that conversation and handle such a big topic. It's almost like something like rape or child trafficking, like we're, oh well, I don't really know how to handle that subject, so I'm just not going to talk about it. But it does bring out the best in some, and I think you are a testament to a wonderful person that was able to bring out the best in people when the worst happened, and you are continuing to make the best of this situation, and we are so grateful to be a part of the Rams Network. So glad to be in association with rocking against MS, but doing some stuff that's a little bit off the beaten path that I know you're interested in spirituality and some of the other things we're talking about doing. And thank you so much for the honor. Thank you to all the people who have been watching at home. And please remember this story and pass it on to our future listeners. So when they ask, and you can tell them all about Nancy, the little engine that could, the badass mean girl, apparently, according to some.
I'm very mean.
So do we have anything else to say to Nancy before we wrap up this show?
But go to rockagainstms.org. That is our website.
Oh, let me put that up here. Hold on a second.
And we also have a great Facebook.
That's not it. I'm horrible at this.
There. No.
Go ahead. Keep talking. I'm typing.
Himself. Oh, I'm reading what Tim is writing about. His ex-wife had a therapist who has MS.
Oh.
He's an amazing man and doctor. He made himself available almost 24 hours a day. Oh, that's so cool. It's such a fucked up disease, man. It's weird. It's unpredictable. When I wake up in the morning, it's a crapshoot. I have no idea. I don't know if I'm going to be in pain, if my feet are going to be in pain, if my arm, or am I going to have a problem with my sight, or am I going to be in what we call brain fog, or whatever.
Thank you, Taylor. Thank you.
I have primary progressive MS, and I'm the 10%. Everybody else has relapse remit, so it comes and goes. They're a little bit luckier because they get like a breather from this shit.
The thing about MS that I want to say, like so many other things, because they were trying to diagnose me with arthritis and what's the other one where you have like the inflammation thing. Like my last visits to the doctor, they started trying to put names to what I was going through, and I was just like, I don't want to hear any stupid names about this. Like I know that I've done something to myself, and you need to help me figure it out. And they didn't know, so I had to go down like another path. But it's when you look like this, and you walk into the doctor and you go, I'm in pain all the time. Like I am effed up. Like things are a problem. Like it is not good. And they're like, you look fine. Your blood pressure's okay. You're not seeing the problem that I'm having. And most people aren't. When you look at somebody who has MS, it's not like you go, oh, I can tell they have MS. It's not a thing, and then for everybody, it's a little different, like just like me and my mom, we're dyslexic, but our dyslexia isn't like the dyslexia that most people are told in the books. There's a lot of different forms of dyslexia. So you end up trying to explain, it's like, and people, you can't really understand because it's a completely different perspective when you're waking up every day and you're dealing with this invisible injury, that is stopping you from behaving the way you were behaving yesterday. And and I know it must be hard having to explain yourself so often, but hopefully we are raising awareness about MS right now. And
we are actually. I want to say thank you to Taylor. We reminded Taylor about her mom, so. She said she's going to send us a little donation. We're excited. Thank you.
Thank you, Taylor.
Thank you to everybody who donated. Is there anything else, Nancy, that you want to get out your chest about our wonderful network and organization while we have you on the show before we wrap up?
How'd you like your Jesse Blaze experience?
That just right here, just right now is even funnier. Well, you know what we're going to do?
Children, what are we going to do?
The corn. We are going to, don't know where that came from. We're going to start doing streaming concerts. Like big concerts.
Oh, cool.
Awesome.
I've been talking to certain people. Well, of course, I've got a slew of people that I go to, my go-tos. And we're figuring out what we're going to be doing, but
let me know if you need something on the East Coast, because I certainly can help you with like venues and live streaming stuff.
Cool, because Marky Ramone is in New York. He's one of my besties, him and his wife, and they support this. They played the last show.
Cool.
Was he there when you played, Jesse? Yeah, had to have been. That was the last show. Yep. Yeah, Marky was headlining that show.
I don't know if I got to meet him, but he was one of the people that I was like had my eye open for.
Yeah, he's such a good dude. I love him, and
I'm a big Ramones fan.
Oh, then we'll have to hook that all up.
I respect them as songwriters, and I don't think that they get enough respect for what great songwriters they are.
I know. Dee Dee was really the main one to write, and he had this imagination, and it was just,
simple and perfect. I was just using them as an example the other day. I was just like, the KKK took my baby away.
Do you know what that song's from?
What it's from?
Well, do you know why he wrote that?
Oh, I I think I'd heard the story a long time ago. Can you tell what is the answer?
Because it's one of my favorites. So, because I know all about the Ramones, because I know the backside. But so Linda was with Joey for about 5 years, and Joey, people didn't really realize, but Joey was a very, very OCD, like this. And back then they didn't know what OCD was, right? So he'd have to like tap 5 times before he could do anything. And so
my brother used to be dealing with some of that.
Yeah, and it's a thing. And but I think then she realized that Johnny controlled the money. So there you go with that. So what he did was she skipped ship, went over to Johnny, but Joey was kind of relieved because Joey wasn't interested in, groupies and sex and all this stuff. So he utilized it, KKK, Johnny, because Johnny's very right wing, and he has like a grand wizard thing at the house. So I'm gonna get. I know.
So it's literally about one of the members of the band who he has dubbed the KKK. Took my baby away. That's funny.
That's crazy.
See, but for me, from a writing standpoint, what he noticed there and what he was always doing, beat on the brat. It was alliteration, simple things that would actually hook into people's heads. The biggest crime, people who are reasonably critical of Avatar, one of the biggest movies on the planet. It's very safe. It doesn't do anything new. That's really, like, some of the visuals are memorable, but there's no new thing that really grips you in and gets you there. And a lot of songs are like great passable songs, but when it's just the sound, you don't have the visual. You got to be doing something new. And every time they would come across the plate with something new. And yeah, to you it might be a little infantile or silly, but I remember it. You remember it. We all remember it. Like fucking shut up until you learn how to fucking come up with stuff that we remember as easily as the Ramones. They just the catchy melodies and the alliteration and just the little ways that they are some of the greatest songwriters this planet has ever seen, and they're not appreciated as such. Their arrangements are elegant. They don't overuse parts. They'll do a part that's great once or maybe twice in a song. Like, they are super impressive songwriters as far
we got a music show cooking too, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, seriously, the Ramones.
He's passionate about a lot of things. He's gonna have a few shows, I think.
The Ramones are amazing. Love those Ramones.
Well,
anyway, we got. I'm told, Nancy, that a show that is an hour is a better case. So when we go over the hour, we're over. Help me help you to develop the show that makes the more money for the MS Rocking.
I know, and it is. It's true. The hour show, but.
So
people are saying it's 8:48. We've gone 18 minutes over.
Yeah, we're over. So
to talk to humans. I'm in a house of cats. You didn't hear the cat screaming behind me?
We did not hear the cat.
No. Hi, cats. I said.
I also have a nonprofit for animals, and yeah.
How do we? So can we devote an individual episode of the live stream of consciousness to your animal charity sometime?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. We'll bring on like a pet psychic or something, and we'll devote the show to the pets. The I keep wanting to say the pet cemetery, the pet charity.
Oh my God,
the pet cemetery.
Dead cats behind
Nancy, thank you so much for inviting us on and coming on our show and inviting us onto the network.
Guys, are you kidding me? It's awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We've got lots more to do with the Rams Network, and hopefully in the near future you'll be able to hang out with me and Michael by proxy as we chat about some different things every night of the week. But I just have to get my babies back to New York in the morning. I fly back to deliver them back to their mom, and I'm a little heartbroken about that. But at the same time, I'm excited to get back to work because, as we know, I'm a workaholic, and that's the things that
I know.
So Nancy, I'm gonna say goodbye to you, and I'm gonna put you backstage so we can wrap it up.
Backstage?
But yeah, you get to go backstage and hang out. Yeah, you get to go back and hang out with everybody. So we'll see you soon. Everybody
Bye,
say
Taylor's
goodbye.
boyfriend.
Bye. Thank you, everybody, so much.
Oh, that was awesome. So
I
cool.
said bye to Taylor's boyfriend
She's
too. She
great.
begged us. She's the best.
Oh,
Nancy is the best. So
nice.
now you all know what we're doing here when we say that we're doing this for charity every week. This is who we're doing it for. We're doing it for Nancy and her lovely organization, and we're so happy to be a part of it. And
Yes.
life is good. Yeah. Any parting spiritual thoughts for us? On
You know what? I was kind of just wrapped up in the story. I mean, spiritually, I feel like there's a lot of spirituality in that message, and I feel like I said, Nancy is just such a dynamic person, and I feel like her purpose was, you know, to experience what she experienced so that she can make people aware of it and help other people. So
I got to get Nancy added to the LA coven of ayahuasca ladies that I have out here. And, and see if we can get her a little
nice
perspective on why it is that she has chosen to deal these cards to herself.
Right.
Which is always the case. It's like, why have I done this to me?
You know what? And I didn't want to get it. It was very kind of. I didn't want to get into that, especially with MS. Like, you know, disease in the mind. And we give her,
you know, Nancy is very open, and that's why, you know, when she saw our show, and it was just sort of like her and I happened to be talking about something else, and she would talk to me about spiritual kind of stuff and whatever, you know, like she was open, you know, she's talking about Reiki, you know, she she recognizes the power in these things, and you know, and it is there to be had, and that thing of recognizing that we have chosen our paths for ourselves, as much as we don't want to admit that sometimes, you know, but that is the hardest little barrel to get over, to accept, all right, this is it. For some reason, on a higher level, I chose chronic pain for myself. Right. It sucks, man. It sucks. I don't know why I would do this to myself. On some levels, I'm like, this is stupid. I would never do this. On other levels, though, I'm like, well, I accept that is part of the game. It's about figuring out the journey. Why is the journey like this? What am I supposed to learn? Right. And granted, I have learned a lot from my pain, so I guess I could say I do know why I did the pain to myself. But I always kind of think, well, couldn't it have been just like a little easier?
Well, but I mean, I think earlier that was one thing I did want to talk about. And again, and we've had this conversation, and it's really watching other people, because I don't think you or I will suffer from it. And that is the comparing yourself to other people, looking what other people are doing. And you were talking about it with your dad, and
with my dad, I did.
Into perspective, you know
what though? My dad saved me from a lot of others, like, because I sort of like, he was king, and I was like, you know, everybody, like, to a certain degree, I was a little like, you guys aren't the king. Like, I was dealing with other people. I'm like, you're not the king.
Yes.
Oh, it's the queen. I'm the queen and the king. I was very intimidated by them when I was younger. Now I realize that parents are just kids raising kids.
You know, and that's funny that you say that too, because that was something I wanted to actually tell you, Jesse. It's funny because I was like, you know, I've seen you with your relationships with your family and the ups and the downs and this and that. And I thought to myself, I'm like, if Jesse actually realized that D was just like everybody else, trying to figure it out and do his thing and raise his family, and you know, I mean,
he literally said that to me at some point. He was just sort of like, can I just say that this pedestal you put me on is an impossibly high standard to live up to?
Yeah.
and I had already realized that myself. And as soon as he said that, I went, I'm right there with you. I see that, and I get it. And I said, it is the standard I hold myself to. It's not so much about that. Like, I made my standard off of you. Right. So I expect you to hold to it as well. This is what I hold myself to, you know, and this is how hard I'm being on me. Right. So, like, I'm being hard on you, it seems, because I'm being hard on myself all the time. Right. And it was destroying me for a very long time, just being hard on myself. So, and that's the biggest, you know, the biggest lesson of, and the biggest lesson and the hardest thing to actually do and get right and really feel, but like loving yourself. Yeah, man. And it's like on some level, I do connect to that, and I do like myself, and I do like appreciate myself. But it's amazing how just like a level or two will connect me to a really absolute place where I really go back to sort of not really putting enough value in myself.
Right.
You know, but it's that thing of the energy, you know, just like it's not about the existential problems. It's about this energy, you know, that we're trying to end the toil, man. We're trying to get rid of this shit.
So
only
other one thing I did want to say is, what do you think of this cool new little background I got? I figured out how to do an animated background.
Oh yeah, let me see.
Well, you don't see it.
Oh, that's trippy.
It's like, yeah.
Are we going to give people seizures?
Well, I had this one first, but it was too a little.
It's a little seizure-y.
That one's a little too bright, but I like this one. This one's kind of.
I do. I like it. I like it. It's cool. We're gonna trip some people out. It's gonna be a little crazy.
But we will continue our conversation and our live stream of consciousness.
Yeah, next week we should be back at our normal time, 6 o'clock. I'll be back in New York for a weekend, and then back over here for Coolest Alive on Tuesday. For those of you who are into geeky stuff, produced by Michael Zinn and hosted by me and my two best friends, Aaron Sparrow and Tori Ireland Mell.
Also on the Rams Network.
Yes, also on the Rams Network. And, you know, as I'm saying, you know, who's interested in something like this going on, like, you know, maybe 4 or 5 days a week? If you're interested in seeing just sort of a regular cast going on about a couple different things, I think that will soon be a reality as I get back from this trip and settle back into life in California. But I'm so excited to have Nancy have come on and explained the Rams Network, so you guys understand when we say we are a charitable organization, you understand that we really are. We're working for a good cause here, and I hope you can help spread the word about all the great shit that we're talking about, and this great channel that is doing some awesome things. I think, you know, some of the other people who are going to be on the Rams Network doing regular things. We are twitching. And but some really great, if you're interested in music especially, there's going to be some great stuff. And then I'm going to be doing some more stuff outside of music. Anyway, we love you guys, and we will see you next time, I guess, right?
Peace.